How are you? And thank you guys. And my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
She, her, and her?
I don't care!
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
Thanks for that information.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Why are we laughing?
And as always, Wakanda forever. Paid for by Kamala Harris.
One more word, and I will feed you to my children.
We're too busy watching what you're doing to hear what you're saying.
I can't understand your accent.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
What does that have to do with anything?
I think that, to be very honest with you, I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
That was really stupid.
Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Oh, that was brutal.
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid.
Oh, that is rich coming from you.
I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
What is she talking about?
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know? What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Who we can be unburdened by who we have been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. Where we can be unburdened by where we have been and unburdened by where we are right now.
I suppose that counts.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What could be unburdened by what had been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. Unburdened by what has been, believing in what can be.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What could be unburdened by what had been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be, what should be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. See what can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Unburdened by what has been and knowing what can be.
Have a sense of vision about what can be unburdened by what has been.
To see what can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What could be unburdened by what had been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Where we can be unburdened by where we have been.
What was possible unburdened by what has been.
Does this count?
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
That can be unburdened by what has been.
There goes! Number 61! Is it there? Yeah!
There are those who are unable to see what can be, but there are many more who are able to see what can be unburdened by what has been.
They taught us that we could do anything and should never be burdened by the limitations of other people to be able or not be able to see what can be. And this is that community who understands and can see what is possible unburdened by what has been.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
I'm
I'm gonna come in the overflow room.